I was 78 years old when I realized I'd been doing something wrong my entire life. It took me that long to see it. I was standing in the kitchen arguing with my daughter about something that didn't matter, and halfway through I heard myself, heard how I sounded, like I was trying to win instead of trying to understand, and I thought, why am I still doing this? I'm Eugene Johnson, 84 now, and I've spent the last 6 years stopping things I should have stopped decades ago, not starting new habits, stopping old ones, the ones that were costing me more than I knew. Maybe you're younger, still building your life, thinking you have time to figure this out later. Maybe you're my age, wondering if it's too late to change anything. Either way, there are things you're probably doing right now that are stealing years from you, and you won't notice until they're gone. When Lorraine died, I thought the hardest part would be the grief, and it was hard. But what surprised me was how much I had to unlearn, how many habits I'd built around her, around work, around being the kind of man I thought I was supposed to be. Habits that didn't serve me anymore, habits that maybe never did. The first thing I stopped was eating late. I know that sounds small, maybe even trivial. But for 60 years, I'd eat dinner at 5:30 because that's when Lorraine had it ready. Then after she died, I'd stay up late, get hungry around 9 or 10, make myself a sandwich, sit in front of the TV, eat it standing at the counter. Felt normal, felt fine. But I started waking up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck, heavy, tired before the day even started. My knees hurt more, my back hurt more. I thought it was just age, 80 years catching up to me. Then one night I ran out of bread, didn't have anything easy to make. So I just went to bed hungry. Woke up the next morning feeling different, lighter, clearer. So I stopped. Last thing I eat is dinner. 6 o'clock, maybe 7 if I'm eating with someone. After that, nothing, just water. And within 2 weeks, I felt like a different person. Slept better, woke up better. Even my joints hurt less. Your body does its cleaning at night, but it can't clean if it's still digesting. I didn't know that when I was young. Wish I had. The second thing I stopped was arguing with people who weren't going to change. I used to think if someone was wrong, it was my job to correct them, show them the right way, make them see, especially at work. I'd get into it with coworkers, supervisors, people who didn't know what they were talking about, and I'd win sometimes, prove my point, feel righteous about it. But it cost me. Promotions I didn't get because I couldn't keep my mouth shut, relationships that went cold because I had to be right. Sleep I lost replaying arguments in my head, thinking of better things I should have said. After Lorraine died, I got into it with my oldest about where I should live. He thought I should move closer to him. I thought I should stay put. We went back and forth for weeks. Phone calls that ended badly. Tension every time we talked. Then one day I just stopped. Told him, I hear you. I'm staying here, but I appreciate you caring. And that was it. Didn't try to convince him I was right. Didn't defend my choice. Just stated it and moved on. He wasn't happy, but we stopped fighting. And 6 months later, he told me he respected my decision. That wouldn't have happened if I'd kept pushing, kept trying to make him see it my way. Some people aren't going to change their minds, and wearing yourself out trying to change them is just borrowing trouble you don't need. The third thing I stopped was sitting all day. I worked in maintenance my whole life, on my feet, moving, lifting, fixing. Then I retired, and suddenly I had nowhere to be, nothing that required me to move. I'd sit at the kitchen table with my coffee in the morning, sit on the couch reading the paper, sit watching TV in the evening. My body started betraying me, knees stiff, back tight. Getting up from a chair became an effort. I'm not talking about exercise. I've never set foot in a gym. I'm talking about just moving. I started making rules for myself. No sitting for more than an hour at a time. If I'm on the phone, I stand. If I'm reading, I get up every chapter and walk to the window and back. When I go to the store, I park farther away than I have to. Small things, but they add up. And my body responded. The stiffness eased. The aches lessened. I started feeling like I could still do things instead of feeling like I was falling apart. Your body's like a machine. You let it sit too long, it rusts. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you're sitting more than you're moving, you're aging faster than you need to. The fourth thing I stopped, and this one took me the longest, was holding on to anger. I'm not proud of this, but there was a man I worked with, did something that cost me professionally, cost me respect, and I held on to that for years, even after I retired, even after he was long gone from my life. I'd think about it and my chest would get tight, my jaw would clench. I'd replay it in my head, imagining what I should have said, what I should have done. Lorraine used to tell me to let it go. Eugene, he's not even thinking about you. You're the only one suffering here. She was right, but I couldn't, or I wouldn't. The anger felt like something I was owed, like letting it go meant he'd won. Then one day, maybe a year after Lorraine died, I was sitting on the porch and it hit me. I was 83 years old, still angry about something that happened when I was 43, 40 years. I'd carried that weight for 40 years. And the man I was angry at, he was probably dead. And even if he wasn't, he didn't know, didn't care. The only person that anger was hurting was me. So I let it go. Didn't forgive him exactly, just decided I was done carrying it. And I felt lighter, physically lighter. Like I'd put down something heavy I'd been holding so long I forgot it was there. That anger was living in my body, making me tense, making me tired. And for what? For nothing. The fifth thing I stopped was watching the news before bed. For years, I'd turn on the evening news, murders, disasters, politicians lying, wars somewhere I'd never been. Then I'd turn off the TV and try to sleep with all that chaos in my head. Didn't work. I'd lie there thinking about everything that was wrong with the world, everything I couldn't control, everything I couldn't fix. Now I turn the TV off by 6, read a book, sit on the porch if the weather's decent, listen to the quiet, and I sleep better than I have in years. 8 hours most nights. What you put in your mind before you rest matters. You fill it with fear and anger and bad news. That's what your mind chews on all night. You fill it with quiet and calm, you sleep like you're supposed to. The sixth thing I stopped was saying yes to everyone. I was raised to help, to show up, to do what needed doing without being asked twice. And that served me well for a long time. But after Lorraine died, everyone wanted something. My kids wanted me to move closer. My neighbors wanted me to fix things, watch things, help with things. The church wanted volunteers, and I said yes to all of it because I didn't know how to say no, because saying no felt selfish. But I was exhausted, resentful, doing things I didn't want to do for people who'd forget about it the next day. Then one afternoon, my neighbor asked if I could watch her kids for a few hours. And I almost said yes, out of habit, out of obligation. But I stopped myself, told her I couldn't, didn't explain why, just said no. She found someone else. The world didn't end. And I learned something. Saying yes to everyone means saying no to yourself. And I've been saying no to myself my whole life, to rest, to quiet, to doing nothing for no reason except that I wanted to. This is going to sound ridiculous, but I bought a jar of pickles last month and I couldn't get it open. Fought with it for 5 minutes. My hands aren't what they used to be. Finally, I just left it on the counter and went without. 2 days later, my neighbor knocked, saw the jar, opened it in 2 seconds. I felt foolish, but then I thought, well, at least I didn't throw my back out trying to prove I could still do it. The seventh thing I stopped was waiting for the right time, waiting for things to be perfect, waiting for permission. I don't know when I started doing that, probably young, probably learned it from my father, always putting off what I wanted until the work was done, until the bills were paid, until everyone else was taken care of. Lorraine and I talked about taking a trip, a real trip, not visiting family, somewhere we'd never been. We talked about it for 30 years, never did it. Always something in the way, work, kids, money, timing. And then she was gone, and I realized we'd been waiting for a right time that never came. Now I don't wait. If I want to do something and I can do it, I do it. Read a book in the middle of the day, eat breakfast for dinner, sit on the porch at noon instead of doing the dishes. Small things, but they're mine. And I'm not waiting for permission anymore, not from my kids, not from some imaginary future version of myself who has more time. This is the time. This is all we get. I'm 84 years old. I've made plenty of mistakes, wasted plenty of time. But the last 6 years since I started stopping these things, I've felt more alive than I did at 60, more present, more grateful, not because I'm doing more, because I'm doing less of what was killing me, eating late, arguing with fools, sitting still, holding anger, filling my mind with poison before bed, saying yes to everyone, waiting for someday. All of it was stealing from me, stealing my energy, my peace, my years, and I didn't even know it until I stopped. I've been here 84 years, watched people I love die too young, not because life was unfair, because they wouldn't stop doing the things that were breaking them down, wouldn't let go of habits that were costing them more than they could afford. You have more time than you think, but only if you stop giving it away to things that don't serve you, only if you stop waiting for permission to live the life you've got left. Thank you for sitting with me. If you want to do it again, I'll be here.